BigJ's beef.
Okay, you all strap in and hold tight. Hi, Big J here. So we've got some beef today, but first you're probably asking yourself, Jay, why are you wearing a red Star Trek t-shirt? Isn't being a red shirt in Star Trek bad luck? My response to that would be, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here's my beef today, and it's with the series Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Now, I've got some notes here that I'll be looking at and referring to, so that way the rambling doesn't get too bad. So we're talking about to start, the first season finale and the upcoming second season for Strange New Worlds. So I don't want to bore you guys with the details, so I'll give you a quick overview. Paul Wesley, who played a character called Stefan Salvatore on The Vampire Diaries, you'll have to forgive me, never heard of that show, but apparently. So he was cast as Captain James T. Kirk for the Strange New World Season 1 finale. And he's returning to play Captain Kirk in Season 2, but obviously not of the Enterprise. For those of you asking, what the hell am I talking about? The events of Strange New Worlds takes place in 2259 of our calendar, and we first saw Kirk in command of the Enterprise in 2265. I'm not talking about the Kelvin timeline, so don't even get me started. Now, granted, there really isn't a whole lot of story behind Kirk's tenure in Starfleet before taking command of the Enterprise. So canon allows for a little bit of stretching room for Kirk's timeline in Starfleet without risk of much contradiction or canon violation. So this is my beef. Kirk was born in 2233. We first see him as captain of the Enterprise when he is in his early 30s. Okay, fair enough. But in season 2 of Strange New Worlds, he is around 26 years old and captain of, supposedly, the Farragut, but definitely not the Enterprise. I don't have a huge beef with Kirk having command of a pretty baseline, not top-of-the-line ship like the Enterprise. Starfleet had him cut his teeth for about 7 years on that ship before he was given command of a big boy like the Enterprise. No, my problem is that we have the Kirk character in the first place. This, it doesn't need to happen. This show doesn't need Kirk. It was doing just fine without teasing too many characters that we would know during the time of the original series. Now, I get that any prequel series can be tough and tricky to navigate. This kind of thing reminds me of Smallville. Hopefully you've seen Smallville. It's a pretty good series. It's a series that depicted Clark Kent in his years before becoming Superman. That series suffered from at least what I like to call it, we can't figure out what to do with ourselves because we're going for 11 freaking seasons and he's still not supposed to be Superman. So what they did, obviously, was push interactions that weren't supposed to happen yet, like with General Zod, Doomsday, Brainiac, and some others. The same thing happened with the show Gotham. Again, another good show. This one took place shortly after Bruce Wayne's parents, and I hope you know what I'm talking about when I say Gotham and Bruce Wayne. That should be an easy one. But this one takes place around and shortly after that time that Bruce's parents were killed. And he was around between 10 and 12, I want to say. Apologies for not knowing the exact age there, but it was around that. But the focus of the show was supposed to be around James Gordon, who would later on, as you know, become Commissioner Gordon and work with Batman on several issues and crimes in Gotham. But now here's the problem with that. The show takes place at least a good 15 years before we're supposed to see Batman. And I'm being generous there. It's probably closer to 20 years. So that prequel show, Gotham, ran out of originality kind of quick. And they also pulled the panic button and introduced characters like Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Joker. Basically too many before it was supposed to happen. Some of these villains, were or became villains because of Batman. So that whole thing didn't work. Strange New Worlds is getting a little close to making the same mistake, but they're hitting the panic button when that button doesn't need to be pressed. Do we need to tease Kirk's interaction with the Enterprise crew 6 years or so before he takes command? I hear what you're saying. I hear it. Big J, you've got beef over something that doesn't have to have beef. Okay, I get that too. There's nothing wrong, and there's nothing wrong here in Star Trek canon that's being contradicted or violated regarding Kirk in 2259 as captain of another ship. We have to remind ourselves, just because it hasn't been mentioned on screen before, it isn't a canon violation. You can't violate something that was never said or established within reason. That's my take. As long as they don't find a way to have Khan make an appearance before he's supposed to, because again, this isn't the Kelvin timeline. And in the Prime Universe, where we're at right now, Khan and his people are still on the sleeper ship Botany Bay, and isn't supposed to be found for another almost 7 years from the events of season 1 of Strange New Worlds. Writers of Strange New Worlds, I've got a plea for you. Don't do it. In regards to trying to get Khan in there early, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. Because that right there, that would be abusing the canon allowance that you're getting. And it's really a fairly generous thing amongst Star Trek fans, because we take our timelines and canon violations pretty seriously. We shouldn't, but that's kind of what happens to this fandom, and you all know it. Now, okay, that's my beef. That's what I've got for the night. And oh my God, it's already time for me to go to bed. Oh, what the fuck?
Hey, where's the beef?
We are Beyond Trek Podcast. Lower your inhibitions and surrender your years. We will add inspirational and hilarious Trek content to your day. Your attention will adapt to subscribe to us. Resistance is futile.